Hello, everybody. So I'm Melinda Colon. I am a marketing and business strategist. I am also the agency owner for Fortis OBM. We specialize in AEC marketing, primarily proposal development, digital marketing, and branding services for small, mid-size organizations in the AEC and CRE space. So what is AEC? So AEC stands for Architecture, Engineering, Construction. CRE, hold this down a little bit. I don't know, my lighting is kind of weird. But CRE stands for Commercial Real Estate. Why is it important? Why do I do what I do? So when I launched my business, just a few years ago, I really wanted to do something of purpose. In fact, it goes back to when I was about 20 years old, 19 or 20 years old. And I was really into my faith at the time, and I still am. But I was really into my faith, and I remember praying. I was like, okay, Lord, I can't, you didn't create me to be a doctor. I hate the sight of blood, even my blood. When we go to, if I need to go take blood or give blood or whatever, I'm just I'm looking away. I'm breathing calmly. I'm doing all the things. Don't like blood. I'm not an engineer. I have a computer science degree. I love tech. I love learning about things and problem solving and things like that. But I'm just too talkative of an introvert to exist in the technology space like that. And to be honest, I like creativity. I lean towards creativity than data, even though I love data and Excel spreadsheets. And lastly, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an engineer, and I'm definitely not a doctor. So as a lawyer, I would suck, okay? Because when I'm angry or trying to get my point, sometimes I cry. So I just, that's just who I am. That's a part of my personality. I just cry. I when I'm angry or frustrated or just trying to prove my point, I get really emotional. And so I would suck in the court of law because they would be like, why is she crying? She must be guilty. And I'm like, no, I'm just literally emotionally just kind of reacting. So anyway, and I'm like, okay, so Lord, what do you want me to do? How do I take this creativity that you put in me, this God-given skill to be creative, with just this love for math, and love for taking things apart and putting them back together? Why give them all to me? You obviously want me to do something amazing with it in my life. Please, God, give me the clarity so that I can understand exactly what that is, and really make a big impact in the world. And this truly was my prayer, because I knew at that time when I was just going through college and I just finished high school, I'm like, I need to be doing something with my life. I need to have some type of track. Friends and family friends, daughters and sons were already, saying oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It was just really big and audacious. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything big and audacious. This is really weird. And I just kind of felt the outcast in that sense. I was a creative, I'm silly, I'm unique, I'm different, and I stand out. And I just always believed that whatever my creative skills are and were going to be, that they would serve people in some big, massive, impactful way of the world. And I still believe that. So fast forward, 20 years or so, 20 years now, I look back and I reflect on just my path, my journey to this point. And it's been just, a lot of lessons that I've learned, a lot of mistakes that I've made, that I've corrected, that I've had to correct because I wanted to be a better version of myself. But more importantly, I've learned a ton, a huge amount of information and from other people that are way smarter than me. So I was working for an AEC firm, architect, engineering, construction firm. It was actually specifically a construction management firm a few years back, and about 10 years back, actually. I say few years like it was just yesterday, but anyway, it comes with age. But just a few years back, and I'm just saying, and I remember that we were actually watching the news as an office, for whatever reason, there was like this huge announcement or report or something. I can't recall like the details of it, but it was really big. It was a really big deal. And I was in Atlanta at the time working for this construction management company. And I was standing next to a project manager who it was, he is a lot older than me, and he's very seasoned, and he just knows the industry and life and etc. I actually looked up to him. And there was other people that were standing and watching the news or just like kind of paying attention to what was going on. And it was just so dramatic. Whatever happened, it was somebody that had passed away, a celebrity that had passed away, and it was kind of like, it's just like 1 month or 1 week after another, there was like somebody dying. I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. These are people that make such a big impact in my life, who are going to be the leaders in our world, like in our industries, right? Not just construction, but in theater, like in arts and in just computer technology and all these things. And obviously it's evolved from then. And, I probably was a little bit of, a little naive at the time, but I really was concerned. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. There's so many opportunities, and I just don't want those type of opportunities to exist, but maybe they're supposed to, right? Like everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that. And so I was sitting there and I said aloud, and I said, oh my gosh, what's happening to our leaders? And the gentleman next to me, the project manager next to me, he said, I wouldn't worry about it. And I said, what do you mean? Like, do you know, like, who's going to take the place of that person? Is there someone up and coming to fulfill that role and that you know of? And so there was started to become like this little cluster of people talking about it. And he just kind of shrugged his shoulders, and he was just like, it's not that big of a deal. And it sat with me because I'm like, of course it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's kind of like when, Michael Jackson passed away. There were mixed emotions, right? There was some people who were, unfortunately like celebrating it. And then some people who, like me, were like just saddened, like they were just, just depressed and stressed out, because it wasn't just the person, it was what impact he made in the world with his life. And how beautiful that is, that even though he has passed, generations past that time know who he is, listen to his music, and it's notable and recognizable of what he does. So I knew that was something that I wanted to do. I don't think I knew that I wanted to be that big, or believe that I could be that big. I was really just kind of thinking like, who are going to be the leaders of our world, the upcoming leaders of our world. Are they going to be good people? Are they going to be focused on, serving communities and really helping people out and making them better? So, they're not going to be like money hungry or just like, greedy and just not good people. But are they actually going to do what they say they're going to do? Because we've seen a lot of politics that, people just don't do that. And so just concerned, right? Like just really concerned. I'm like, oh man, what does this mean? So I go back and I pray like I usually do for just about everything, for everything. And I pray and I'm like, Lord, what does this mean? Like, why did you why did you allow me to move in that way and feel that? What did that mean? And so I kind of just left it there, an open-ended conversation sometimes that I need to have with God. And so it's just like kind of a side note, when I do have those conversations with God, it's best for me to just kind of not dwell on it, but just like say it, put it out there, and then let him work through it. Anyway, so he's working through it. And so I launched my business in 2017. It was something that I always felt that I wanted to do, for a long time. And I finally had the courage to do it. And it was really small at the time. It was just freelancing. I didn't take it seriously and stuff like that. And so I started really small during the pandemic. I just said, you know what, I'm going to do this full time and really focus not only just on, myself, but just other factors that were, impacting me from working a 9 to 5 consistently. So doing that, and then it just kind of took off and evolved. And I look back and I'm like, wow, like God totally worked through this business. I think he just prepared me for where I am right now. And I was really surprised, to be honest, because I did everything that I had learned before I entered into the AC industry, things that I was told by, marketing managers in the AC that weren't relevant, that weren't important, that isn't marketing. But I actually applied it to my business and was successful the first year. I exceeded my financial goals and have been exceeding my financial goals every year, doubling in revenue every single year. Profits are great. And just really feeling confident that this is something that I'm supposed to do. And okay, so let me go get into the Thrive Build thing, because I feel like that's what people really want to know. It's like, what the heck is Thrive Build, Belinda? Just go ahead and tell me. Spit it out. But so Thrive Build is, again, it is a response. And it was a response to a prayer that I had over 20 years ago, and has been unfolding in the last 20 years in my life. Solutions that I didn't even know that they were valuable until I started sharing them with my colleagues and friends in the industry. Like tools of, QC checklists for InDesign, plugins to use, shortcuts. Like I learned Adobe InDesign in high school. Like I have been using Adobe InDesign, Illustrator, everything like that before it was a Creative Cloud. Like when you had to, upload or install each software individually from floppy disks, like 9 sets of floppy disks. Like I have been using Adobe since then. And so I'm like, oh yeah, you could totally do this. You could do mail merge. That's easy. Like that's so old school. Like these things are so duh. And I say this because a mentor told me this, and it rings true in every aspect. Experts don't realize that they're experts. And I totally am an expert in Adobe InDesign, in proposal development, in marketing. And I had no idea that I was an expert until people started pointing it out and I started seeing the results for myself and in my business. And then I reflect back on all of those opportunities that I had in my career, working internally. And I'm like, dude, like I was at the company for 2 weeks and I helped win like one of the biggest projects that they've ever won for that office. Or, I helped them get into a new market and sell their business or sell the office and the team that had no experience and no business submitting, but they won because of my theme and my value proposition that I helped them develop. Or, I would remember, in Fortis OBM, I get accolades all the time from like CEOs and presidents of companies that are like, how did you do that? Thank you so much. Like, if it wasn't for you, I would not be here. Our company would not be here because of you. And, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, I don't think that it's a big deal, but it is. And I was driving one day to go to an interview to interview one of our new team members, and it was in the car, just on the highway, and it just all came to me like that. And it was like, this is going to be Thrive Build. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means, but sure, I'll start talking about it. So I started talking about it because, like a good marketer, to get a sense of the market and the demand, if there's interest or anything like that. And I should have just trusted my gut and my God, because he had already made it so. And so I started talking to people, and they're like, yeah, that's what we need. We need that. We need a community of forward thinkers, of people that are, not just starting out in marketing, but also taking it to the next level to be advanced and experts in their subject matter, right? Like not just saying, okay, well, we're just going to focus on proposals. We're just going to focus on branding or digital marketing. No, we're going to just touch everything. And it starts with, and here's this process. And getting everybody on that page, because what happened in my career is that I excelled significantly in my career. I was acknowledged. I was invited to the table. I was, emailed and phone called and suggested to go to meetings that I had no business going to because I was respected that much. And I took it for granted because I didn't know. I was the expert. I didn't realize that I was the expert, right? I was just like, okay, I guess I'll go to this important meeting with this client. What's my goal? What's my purpose? What's my, no, just show up. I just need you there. I need you there are the words that I heard over and over again from decision makers, from leaders in organizations that my peers are have similar situations or similar sets up, like structures, and they're getting the opposite responses, like, oh, you can't get that raise, or you can't get that promotion, or just keep trying, keep working. We'll give you something else to do, or maybe that's just not the right fit, and just getting a lot of flack and just pushback on their, trying to advance in their career. And for me, I always took the wisdom, the journey. Like, I took it as, if there is a chance or a challenge that is set forth in front of me, I need to show up. Like, I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to address it and then move forward because it's in my way. And I believe that I have the control and the ability to do great things. And so the things that show up that are in my way, they're in my way and they need to be removed. And so because of that, and I believe that's because I've always thought of myself as an owner or a leader. And because I always thought of myself as a leader, I had the confidence to speak as a leader, as a confidence to move like a leader. And that led me to have strong, just strong belief that I can do what I am set out to do. That happened. Snap. Oh my gosh, I know exactly what Thrive Build is. I'm terrified because it sunk in as I was doing my data mining and talking to people and doing surveys. And I talked to dozens of marketers. I realized, oh man, this is totally needed and this is a really big deal. As I started talking more and more and more about it, I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because AEC, like the commercial real estate space, specifically commercial construction, they will build our world, like from hotels, from schools, from roads and bridges, from hospitals. I mean, everything is designed, engineered, and built by them, by our employers, by our partners in business. And as marketers, we don't even realize our impact in the bottom line. Now, I don't know any business, after 20 years of marketing, I don't know any business that succeeds and achieves without good quality marketing. And when I say good quality marketing, there's a high conversion, at least mid to high conversion, meaning that the company is not losing money, right? And I come to AEC and given terrible, feedback from marketing managers that say, well, your experience working for Fortune 500 companies and government sector agencies is not applicable here. And I'm like, okay, I truly believed that in that moment because I didn't realize I was an expert, right? And so now 20 years, 10 years past, 20 years now, I'm looking back and I'm like, oh my gosh, that could have been an opportunity to help so many people and I missed out on it. And it scared the heck out of me. It scared the heck out of me because I'm like, this is huge. This is big. This is world changing. And I did not believe at the time that I could do something world changing. I thought I needed something more. Because I had been beaten down. I have been told so many different terrible things by leaders, decision makers, even though I was an expert, even though they relied on me to help them win work. I was also convinced by folks who acted as though they had my back. They didn't. They just were jealous. They were worried. They were concerned about their own job, that I didn't have anything to offer. So I kept quiet and I put my head down. And that led to a lot of problems, health problems, just sadness. Sometimes I was in depression. I was just frustrated in my role as a marketer. And now on this side, looking back in, I have tried so many times to run away from this. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be honest. I've tried so many times to run away from this because it's so big. It's way bigger than me, and it's way bigger than you. But it's necessary, because where we are headed and where we're going in AEC and CRE is, I mean, we're already starting to see a transition in leadership where our baby boomer leaders are retiring or exiting or selling off their company. And new decision makers who are in their 30s and 40s are making decisions, but from a creative and more modern space. And what does that mean? That means that business and how we do business in the industry is going to significantly change more than any time ever in history. And we get to see that, but we have to be a part of that. And instead of being reactive or, things happening to us, why don't we be a part of what happens for us and impacting all of our lives in a positive way? Now, one good positive thing that manager did tell me was that what we do in marketing impacts our technical team members, their lives as well. And that's heavy. That's a lot of responsibility. But if we do our job right, it doesn't feel like work. Because if we still focus on copying and pasting and trying to get things just done because we're overwhelmed, we're burnt out, we're stressed, we don't know what we're doing, right? Like, you guys are just kind of, you're trying to figure out how to get from this pile of proposals of work and stuff like that, and really just stay focused on, man, I want to get promoted. I want to get seen as a leader. I want to get seen for the great work that I'm doing. I want to get seen as an expert because I know deep down I'm really good at, or, hey man, I want an opportunity to share my opinion for you people to listen to me, as a consultant and a coach. I hear that all the time from teams, right? Their bosses, they invite me to come to their company, and then they're like, me and that person go to lunch, and they're like, I don't know why they brought you in, because I'd already told them exactly what you just said to them. And I'm like, I know, it's unfortunate. But instead of saying, well, that's just how it is there anything that we could do about it? So that's what Thrive Build is. Thrive Build is a response to our built environment, to do better marketing, to impact the way that we do business, so that we can build a world in a positive light, so that we're not just burning the midnight oil, trying to get something out, and just begrudgingly frustrated and stressed and angry and sad all at once. And instead taking all of that energy that you have and putting it into the positive light, saying, you know what, I don't want that anymore. I have goals that I want to achieve, and I want to succeed. And so in Thrive Build, we're going to help you set out goals and plans. What are your goals as a marketer? What are your plans as like, where is your 5 and 10 year mark, right? Like, that's the question that you get during your interview process, but rarely do you see that companies follow through. And this is the conversation that we want to help you have, not just internally, right? Like, not just to say, I envision and value and I believe this, as you're crying on your way home about a terrible day and someone did not do something that they were supposed to do, or said something they weren't supposed to say. Instead, focus on the high road, right? Focus on the ability, the opportunity that you have, the ability already to do something amazing and something great in your life. And you don't have to wait for someone to invite you, because you have invited yourself. You've created the table. You're now inviting them, right? You get to bring those creative ideas, and you get to go ahead and experiment and have those opportunities, and limit the amount of proposal work that you're doing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a separate video, because proposals is the way in our industry, and there's something significantly wrong with that. But I wanted to just address what the heck is Thrive Build, right? Like, what is Thrive Build? Thrive Build is a community of marketing professionals that are supporting each other and getting clarity on a path towards promotion. That is what Thrive Build is. That is what it is. It's going to be application based, so not everybody can be a part of that, because what I want to make sure that happens is that the right people are there. The right people are connected. The good quality people are just kind of, I'm sorry to say it that way, but we're not here to just start some drama. We're here to like excel and accelerate and excel in our careers, right? In your careers. I want to help you do that. I want to help you, whatever that path looks like, whether that's, you want to become the vice president of marketing, you want to go into communications, maybe, or you want to, establish and strategize a plan or a pitch to present to leadership. I want to help you do that. I want to help you. I have Fortis OBM, the marketing agency, which is amazing and great. And we are doing great things with that. And that's not a replacement for any department or any marketer, by the way. This is in addition to, right? We're just there to remind people that they already have great people, but to support y'all to get work done so that you're not at work until, 6:30 now Eastern. So this just not necessarily, it's not necessary. Work can get one a lot better than the way it's getting done. So we'll talk about that another day. But I want you to do something for yourself and reflect on what your goals are. What is the path for you? What do you want? Do you want to stay in your role? Like, I know people, and I've coached and consulted marketers who want to stay in their current role. They're not looking to get promoted. Well, that's great, but let's work on a plan and a path so that does just appear to be or perceive to be value add for the organization, and it doesn't bottleneck them. Or say you're in a more leadership role, like a marketing manager, a marketing director, and you're like, I need to hire, and I'm completely doing everything myself. Proposals, marketing, social media, website, everything. I don't even know where to start, and I don't want to, diminish the value that I have in my organization because I'm afraid to ask for help. Well, honey, you got to ask for help or you're going to burn out. You have to ask for help, or you have to delegate your some responsibilities to something or someone, whether that's automation, whether that is, tools and resources or solutions that exist from free to for paid. But that's all a conversation that we're going to have in Thrive Build so that people know what to do next, right? Like, what do you do next? It doesn't have to be like this every single day for you. It can be better. I promise that. I have glowing references and letter recommendations from every employer I've had, and they've all said the same thing. You treat my company as if it was your own. And so I will do that. I will lend that mind, that part of me to you so that you can get similar responses and reactions from your leadership, and finally get the ear that you have been trying to get for the longest time. All right, guys, that's Thrive Build. If you have any other questions, let me know. Put them in the comment below. But thank you so much for letting me be vulnerable today. I am not, dressed up glam, but I figured this is important. I don't have much makeup on. I don't like pretty much nothing, but I thought this is important. I didn't want to wait anymore to share with you something that's amazing. And there's no way in this God's green earth that I am going to walk away from this ever. No, this has to happen. This is purpose driven. This is like, I have to do this. It's necessary. So in addition to folks for the community, to be a part of the community, I am also looking for partners to help see this through. So I feel like the more voices that we have and the more collective and united we become, the better that we can actually help our organizations, our companies, the companies that you work for, actually do the right thing, save money on proposal development so that you're not doing a gazillion of them, so that they're winning more work, so that you can actually do the fun marketing stuff that you actually want to do, participate in the community that you want to do, that you want to participate in, and just really kind of be a well-rounded marketer, right? Someone that really just feels like they have opportunity to be creative in their own little way. All right, guys. See you around. Bye.